Am I late?
No, class doesn't start until 8:20.
Oh. Oh God, I woke up late.
Nope, you're good.
I'm surprised I passed that test yesterday.
Why? Why are you surprised?
Oh.
You did a good job on it. You didn't just pass, you did a good job. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We might have a couple more people join us. There are about 3 of you, 2 of you, who need to finish your quiz from yesterday. So make sure you get that done because it's silly to take a 0 out of 30 on this, on that quiz, right? Because you can use notes and everything. All right, so today, what we're gonna talk about is, called compositions of transformations. So in music, a composition is where more than one instrument works together, right? So it's talking about, like if you're talking about an orchestra, you're talking about all the different strings, and sometimes you even have, you know, the woodwinds and the brass and percussion, all those working together, okay? So a composition of transformations just means you have more than one transformation. The good news is that really what we do isn't all that different. It's multi-step. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of examples today, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing in Delta Math. And I'm hoping, a lot of times when we do transformations, we graph all the time. And we haven't been able to, obviously, because we don't have paper together, right? We're not here together. We don't always have paper. We don't have the graph paper. So today, I'm hoping with what we're going to do on Delta Math, it'll show you some of the graph side of it, and things will kind of make sense. So let's first start with an example of a transformation, a composition here. So it says, given the triangle below, reflect over the x-axis and then translate 7 units right and 1 unit up. Okay, so whatever order it's listed, that's the order we need to do it in. Okay, so first it says reflect over the x-axis. All right, so here's my x-axis, right? So remember, if E is 1 step away from the x-axis, E prime is going to be 1 step away from the x-axis. F is 6 steps away, so I need to go 6 steps up, and that will be F prime. D is 2 steps from the axis, so I need to go up 2 steps, and this would be D prime. Okay, so that's just reflecting over the x-axis, which again is not new to us, but now that creates our second triangle. Right? So if I want to call it B, we can call it B, whatever you want to do, right? Okay, so remember those little tick marks, that means prime, right? It just means that it's related to the original. Okay, now it says translate 7 units right and 1 unit up. So literally, I need to take every point, move it to the right 7 units, and then go up 1 unit. So now this becomes E, oops, oh, hold on. Sorry, a fit here. This becomes E double prime. I take F, I move it 7 to the right and 1 up. This becomes F double prime. D gets moved 7 to the right and 1 unit up. This becomes D double prime. Okay, so let me draw in my side lengths now. Okay, so now there's my new triangle, and I can call it C if you want. But this original triangle, we did a composition of transformations. We reflected it first, and then we slid it to the right. We translated it to the right and up 1. So that's what a composition is, just meaning we're doing more than one. What we're going to be doing today, because we really can't graph the way we normally would in class, what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be following a single point through 2 transformations. Okay, so instead of having to do all of it, we are going to just follow a single point. So right now, point X is located at -4, -2. Right, that's where it is on the graph right now. So we're going to do our 2 transformations. We want a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation. All right, we know that the 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation, that is XY maps to -YX. And if you didn't remember that, remember you have that cheat sheet, right? Okay, so we now need a 90-degree rotation. So I need -YX. Okay, so when I rotate it, my -Y becomes +2. And then I just want to list my X term. So -4. Okay, so X prime would be at 2, -4. Then it says we want to reflect it over the Y axis. So right now it's at 2, -4. I want to reflect it over the Y axis, right? So right now I'm 2 steps away, so I need to go 2 steps this way. So keep in mind, the Y value is not changing, right? Because it's not going higher or lower. So that Y value is going to stay the same. What ends up changing is my X value. It's going to be the opposite sign. So it's going to become -2. So after my point for X now, after I rotated it and after I did my reflection, it's now going to be at -2, -4. Any questions about that? All right, so in Delta Math, what it's going to look like, oops, let me get there. So I want to show you what it's going to look like today. So you have 3 sets of problems to look at. Okay, this first one where it says point on a figure, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you to follow that 1 point. Okay, it's going to ask you to follow that 1 point. So it says the figure below is reflected over the y-axis and then rotated 180 degrees counterclockwise. So they want to know, where is point V going to be? Okay, so right now, point V is at 1, 1, right? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is reflect it over the y-axis. That means it needs to go 1 away. So it's going to be, if it's going over the y-axis, that means that only the x is changing, right? So the x, instead of being at +1, is going to be at -1. The y is going to stay the same. Then it says rotate it 180 degrees counterclockwise. Well, that rule is XY maps to -x, -y. Again, you can look that up, right? It's not a secret. So we can just change our signs is what it means. So V double prime is going to end up at +1, -1. All right, so when you go to type it in, it's going to be +1, -1. Okay, and you want to submit your answer? Yes. And what it's going to do is just showing you visually, what's happening there. Okay, so that's like what I just did there on that one problem. So in the chat box, type a Y for yes and an N for no if you understand what you're going to do on that set of problems. A Y for yes if you understand, and N for no. Okay, so what we're doing is we just have to find that yellow highlighted point. And it might be easier if you have paper, like you're gonna need to write it down kind of like I just did. Let's do another problem here. So in this one here, we have point P. Point P, wait, let me get my drawing tool here. So point P right now is at -6, -9. Okay, now, it says it's translated right 4 units and then rotated. So I need to go to the right. So if I go to the right 4 units, that's only changing my X. So I need to add 4 to my X because it's moving to the right. So now I'm at -2, -9. Right? Then it says it wants it rotated 180 degrees. So that's XY maps to, again, -X, -Y. So that means we just need to change our signs. So instead of it being -2, it's going to be a +2. Instead of a -9, it's going to be a +9. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the point 29. And it will then graph it for you. So it's confirming. See, it's showing you how it slid to the right, and then it shows how it's rotating. All right, so that's the first set of problems that you're going to look at. The other two, they're called discovery. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is they're going to ask you to, in this case, take figure C and move it to figure D. And you have to do it in 2 steps. So you have you have translations, reflections, and rotations. Okay, so I noticed this one is probably going to need to be rotated. So I'm going to choose a rotation, and I'm going to guess 180 degrees. Now the nice thing is you can hit the try button, and it's going to try it for you. Okay, and that wasn't quite right. So maybe I needed to go a little bit further, right? So maybe I need to try 90 counterclockwise and 90 clockwise are 2 different values. So clockwise, let's see what that would look like. Okay, not quite far enough, so maybe I need to try the other one. So the nice thing about this is you're going to get to try, oh, we're a little bit better there. Okay, so we get to try different things out, okay? You could also maybe try a reflection. So what happens if I reflect over the x-axis instead? So it'll reflect it. Oh, that looks even better, right? Because look how everything is slanted the same way. So that looks like I might be on the right track. So now I just need to scoot it, right? I just need to be able to scoot it to the left. So that's a translation. And I need to tell it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units to the left. So I need to say left 6 units. So I hit try again. It flips it, and then it scoots it, and it matches up. And it says you are correct. So you can keep hitting that try button over and over and over again. Okay, so the nice thing is it lets you experiment and figure things out. And then it'll tell you, okay, once you write now, go ahead and hit submit. Okay, and then it kind of shows you how it all works. So it's saying we could have also scooted to the right first and then reflected. That's what this next set of problems are. And it's truly, truly, truly about just trying things. Okay, it's truly about trying a reflection, trying a rotation, and seeing where it ends up. Okay, but the nice thing is it does all the hard graphing for you. All right, so I'm going to turn you loose. I would really prefer if you kind of stayed on and did your Delta Math today, because I think some of you might need some help, and I'm afraid you won't jump back on. So I want you to try to go ahead and get started on that Delta Math, and if you need help, let me know.